Comparisons. Today my student said, it's easier as setting it up right. So I said, you mean easier than setting it up right? So he said, why? So let's look at the ways to make comparisons. Firstly, compare two things that are the same. Use as plus adjective plus as. For example, cooking spaghetti is as easy as frying eggs. They're both equally the same. Physics is as complex as chemistry. Going to Florida takes as long as going to Montana. Your kids are as crazy as mine. Next, compare two things that are different. You use the comparative adjective plus than. Now, what is a comparative adjective? Well, you can form it by adding er to words of one or two syllables, or add more before longer words. For example, 1 to 2 syllables, crazy, hard, long. Turn it to crazier, harder, longer. Or if it's more syllables, use words like complicated, appetizing, you add more. More complicated, more appetizing. Let's see an example. Cooking lasagna is harder than frying eggs. Physics is more complicated than algebra. Going to Florida takes longer than going to Michigan. Your kids are crazier than mine. Another form of comparing is to compare one thing as standing out above the rest with the superlative adjectives. So to form superlative adjectives, you add the est to words of 1 to 2 syllables, or most before longer words. For example, crazy, hard, long become craziest, hardest, and longest. Difficult and appetizing become the most difficult or the most appetizing. Cabbage rolls are the hardest food to prepare. Organic chemistry is the most difficult subject I studied. My children are craziest after eating ice cream. Her crunchy sushi rolls are the most appetizing side dish I've tasted. So, remember the different ways to make comparisons. Compare two things that are the same, as plus adjective plus as. Learning English is as hard as learning any other language. My students are as dedicated as athletes. Compare two things that are different, using a comparative adjective plus than. Learning English is harder than frying eggs. Comparing words is more complicated than I thought. And compare one thing as standing out above the rest with the superlative adjectives. For example, using Language Lady is the easiest way to learn. My students are the most intelligent people I know.